Set number 3 coming up. Agassi losing yesterday, Bruguera losing yesterday. Our finalists here, the top player in the world and a man who, if he wins this match against Sampras, will be the number 2 player in the world, Boris Becker. First set 6-4 to Becker, and then Sampras won the second 6-3. A couple of us are going down to Bali. And we all have our Bali High renditions. You're listening in the background.
All week long, I've had to heard about your big swell trip to Bali. You're not going to go to watch
the whistle.
You're not going to go to watch volleys in Bali. You're just going to go.
Dollies in Bali.
I'm going to go out and see. There's a volcano out there that I want to go and see.
According to Fred, when you travel with Fred, you say, "Fred, let's go to this castle." Oh, you've seen one bloody castle. You've seen them all.
That's right.
And there's a volcano that you guys could be seeing, but no, Fred's already seen a volcano in his lifetime, so he doesn't want to go see another bloody volcano.
15 love.
Now, that must feel pretty good. Nice way to start off set 3 after a pretty disastrous second set of serving. Becker seems to be back on the boil. Ace number 14 against just 3 from Sampras.
That's quite a big difference, isn't it?
.187 Ks makes about 116 miles an hour on that serve, but it went right into Sampras. Becker doesn't like that one, but he can live with it. It's 40-15.
I think he got that backhand a little bit late. That's why he didn't really bother challenging this one. It does look wide.
Yeah.
He got it. He caught it late, and he knew it. If he had hit it a little bit earlier, struck it cleaner, maybe he'd have been a little more upset.
Holds on without much trouble, and Becker will change ends as Tiriac, who used to be Becker's man, isn't anymore. Watches. 1 game to love.
First game, first set.
Well, right at the top of the show, we talked about how important the serve was in this particular match, and in the first set it was Becker who only lost 7 points on serve, and he had the percentages that Sampras had in this set. Sampras 71%, 42% in the first set, and Becker 39%, and he had 75 in the first set. And in this particular set, Sampras only lost 4 points on serve. Total reverse.
You are watching the World Championship here between Sampras and Becker. Eight players qualify for the World Championship here in Frankfurt. They play 2 round-robin groups. These 2 emerged after the semi-final wins yesterday, and the winner will be the world champion for this year.
Right signal, 30.
Last 2 times they've played, won both of them by Becker indoors. But I'll never forget the match they played at the Foro Italico in Rome when Pete Sampras just walked all over Becker on the clay.
That's why Sampras liked his chances here this week. Of course, this isn't as slow as red clay at the Italian Open, but he thought the conditions would help him.
This is the return that I feel Boris Becker hits a little bit better than Sampras. He flattens it out. He gets right in beside, and look at this forearm jolt and straight through it. Not a lot of topspin. That one's flat. It's struck up around chest high. barely gets this one back, and Sampras thumps it. It was pace of shot. Becker knew where it was going, but you can't do much when you get a big enough swing at this one.
You know, in isolation, as you watch this replay, this is not such a big shot because, well, it's not that critical a time of the match with Sampras leading, but he is sending a message to Sampras, and that is that he's going to jump on that second serve, and that's not good news for Sampras.
Oh, he
He missed it. Now it may become bigger news.
Miss-hit return. Sampras can't believe that. That's why those shots are not as easy as they look, because when you miss-hit the ball, it comes off the frame of the racket and it provides a different type of spin. And all it has to do is get away on your racket just a fraction of an inch on you from your hitting zone, and you can push it wide, as Sampras did on that occasion. They're not as easy as they look, those shots.
One breaker serve in either set so far has done it.
Well, actually, Becker got what he was looking for there. He just simply got the ball back, knowing that Sampras was disgusted the point before, and he set himself up with a second shot, the passing shot. However, he missed it. But the tactics, the play, percentage play was the right one.
One game all, third set.
Again, a good safe volley there, and now he watches that one right onto the strings. Very careful about that shot, Sampras.
Consent.
194 Ks is 121 miles an hour on that serve.
17 aces now.
Consent by 15 all.
Could Sampras be more aggressive on the return, in your opinion, Fred?
Yeah, I definitely think so, Cliff. Yeah, that's where I think Becker's got the little bit over him on the backhand side, and I think Sampras is a little more effective on the forehand side.
Like that. Like that. I'm just wondering whether it's a product of how well Becker has served, you know, that he just really is not in a position.
Well, I think it's a better shot. I honestly think that flatter forehand there that Sampras has off, I'd like to see him flatten his backhand out like that, as opposed to try and come up over the top of it, or eventually the one that he comes underneath is too much slice.
15-30.
He and Tim Gullickson actually worked very, very hard in the last couple of years to make his return game better, and especially at Wimbledon, because he didn't stand right to the net on grass. He didn't really return too well on the grass. Of course, now he's won 2 Wimbledon titles.
They've worked very hard also on his backhand to make him come from low to high a little bit more on it than he did, say, 3 years ago. That's a great serve from Becker, the swinging one once more. But Sampras used to hit more with a flat backhand, and they've worked on getting a little bit more topspin, a little bit more air, as we might say in the game, a little bit more margin for error over the top of the net. I'd like to see him to bring it down just a fraction more indoors.
Well, that's pretty good. 5 aces in the very early going of this third set alone. After 7 double faults in the second set, Becker's back.
Thursday night on ESPN, a classic college football matchup as rival Syracuse and West Virginia meet at Mountaineer Stadium. The Orangemen need a win to secure a bowl bid. Start the night off right with the Russell Athletic weekend kickoff show, followed by the game in West Virginia. All that action gets underway at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 on the West Coast. This is tennis from Frankfurt, the World Championship. Pete Sampras and Boris Becker. Sampras, the top player in the world, trying to add the world champion crown to 9 titles that he's won so far this year, including an indoor event at Antwerp last week and 2 Grand Slams, the Australian and Wimbledon.
Jeez, it's pretty high quality stuff out here. I mean, when you look at it, both these men really, they both had 1 weak game, and that's why things are so even in this match.
That's again the return that I feel is stronger off the Becker side, that backhand, as he muscles that one, flattened it out, and then put Sampras under pressure, and he finished up with an easy volley.
I agree. There was a dodgy patch in this match when Becker served those 5 double faults to give the game and the second set away. For about 3 games there, it was a little ratty, but boy, things have turned around now.
No joy from Jerry Armstrong. We talked to the chair umpires. They reckon that's the most difficult one for them to see, the serve down the tee.
Dry sequencing. 30-15.
Oh, very close. You'd be the judge. It's either barely out or just touched the edge of the line.
Yeah.
But that man's got a good look at it.
Yeah, I'd hate to have to make that call on the replay, I tell you.
Well, we don't have the cameras on those lines that that actually show the view, like the base lines and the service lines, the ones where they have those new cameras. They're very small camera, but they look right down at a low level along the line. On those high ones, you're looking for a much higher camera, and it's a little deceptive.
Now Sampras wants a call.
No dice, though. 30-all.
Boris Becker complained after yesterday's press conference. Look at that one.
I think that clipped the line.
Yeah, that one, I think Pete might be wrong about that one, but Becker said after his press conference yesterday, he said, you know, this is supposed to be the best tournament of the year on the ATP Tour, and it's supposed to be the best players. We should have the best linesmen, and he feels that, you know, some of these local lines people aren't getting the job done. These are, let's face it, eight of some of the hardest hitting guys you're going to find in tennis going for the lines, going for the big shots.
And the worst part is that we can tell you when they make a mistake now on some of the lines because of these cameras that we've got. It's long. Game point for Sampras coming up.
If you remember going back to their first match in the round robin, those of you that have watched with us all week, Becker caught Sampras with about 3 topspin lobs in that match that caused breaks of serve when Sampras was covering the net, blanketing the net. He hasn't played one today. That was the first time.
And Sampras was smiling as he chased that one down because he knew it was going to land big.
Two games all. The semi-final matches yesterday had great ratings here in Germany. 1 in 3 television sets was tuned to both semi-final matches. The Becker-Bruguera match, obviously, but the Sampras-Agassi numbers were as good.
You can see how loose that net is when they sort of get there. It doesn't do too much for you.
1 set all, 2 games all.
There's that forehand return you like so much, Fred. Yeah, in the middle of this net, again, you can see there's a metal pipe which helps secure this thing, the net of this court. And it's looser than if you sink poles into concrete, like at the U.S. Open, where you get a very, very strict, taut bounce off of a lead cord. But as I said, because this is a singles court, if you aim towards wide, towards the sidelines, and again, Pete Sampras doesn't think that's an ace, but it counts as his 18th.
I thought that was good, that one.
Yeah, me too. I think Pete's got to just start playing these now. 19 aces, 6 in this set now.
And this is only his third serving game of the set. You can average 2 aces a serving game and you got it made.
As long as you don't serve 5 double faults in the game. That's a perfect volley. And this is where Becker was so good in the round robin competition, covering that cross-court forehand, because that's where Sampras went on most occasions. Out wide, he hit a winner on that same shot the point before, but Becker is right on that one. You can see played that one round about waist high. Look at that. Perfect execution. It should be a let. If that was a call to let the other day on Sampras when they threw the ball back from in the stands, and Becker served a double fault, so Sampras got away with one there. If you remember, Agassi questioned that when he was playing Sampras the other day. The ball was thrown back by the spectator, and when that happens, if the chair umpire decides then that interrupts play, the server gets 2.
A lot more aces from Becker and a lot more double faults.
Yep.
He's got 9. Yeah.
9, and Sampras just 1.
Yeah. That's solid volleying, that, isn't it? Because, you know, there were a lot of places on the court that Sampras would have been able to cover and have a very good look at another pass. But
40-30.
Becker edged it wide and did very well.
This is the last part. This is the easy part. The tough part was the forehand volley that he had to punch and get it close to the line.
So game point Becker.
If you watch Becker, if they show you a replay here and compare Becker's high volley to that of Sampras, Becker's much more risky on that high volley than is Pete Sampras. And sometimes when the pressure's on like that and you move the wrist a little too early, you slap the wrist through, then you make more errors off that than if you just lead with the heel of the hand. It's very technical, but the head of the racket stays above the net.
Oh, you could tell him. He knew exactly where he wanted to go there, and he thought he had a very good chance of making it. Clip the tape. Really, you should try to take the wrist to the extent that you can out of the volley, shouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. And Becker, when he gets up there, he doesn't take much of a backswing, so he flicks and breaks the wrist at the top of the swing, and that causes the errors.
He tries to muscle a lot of high volleys. You know, he really, his wrist breaks, yeah.
That's a big serve again for Becker, so he got out of trouble.
3-2 Becker in the third set. At the 1991 ATP World Championship final, Jim Courier was the #2 player in the world. His opponent, Pete Sampras, was #6 at the time. Courier was just finishing his breakthrough year on the tour. Sampras enjoying a late season surge. Pete Sampras, the winner here in 91. Becker won it in 92. Michael Stich of Germany won it 93. So here's Sampras trying to do it again, and indeed Becker. On serve in the third set, serving 2-3, 1 set all. First set 6-4 to Becker, and then Sampras came back and was handed a gift by Becker. 5 double faults in 1 game, and he won the second 6-3.
Eventually broke serve. This is normally the pivotal set in a 5-setter. If you can get it 2 sets to 1 lead, the percentages are certainly going to go your way on most occasions. There are a lot of matches been lost from that position, but
oh, he enjoyed that.
the players like to muscle in and lead 2 sets to 1. Then they're a little more relaxed because they have that set in the pocket. Look at this. This is a slam dunk overhead. Good leap from Sampras there. And in order to leap up and do that, you have to have perfect timing. You have to be in the air and strike that ball in the middle of the racket right at the split second that you need.
Falls into the don't try that at home category. That's going to go. I thought it was going to go wide. He hit it anyway for a clean winner.
I think Becker wanted to show off too. After Sampras hit that shot, Becker was kind of saying, "Hey, I could have bounced this wide, but look, I'm going to hot dog it too."
I can't slam dunk this one, but I can hit this one from 3/4 court. It's a great lob that he plays here. This lob may have gone wide, but Becker backs back, takes that scissor steps, and then look at that angle on that overhead. You can't hit it any better than that.
30-15.
Hesitation cost that point there. Becker knows that he made the shot and then started to go in and just hesitated a moment until Sampras had played the shot. Then he was caught in a bad spot. No man's land there, forcing him to half volley.
Becker going the wrong way, and Sampras holds on. 3 games all.
That comes under the category of when you're that far in front, you've got to guess if you're going to get back into it. Percentages are when you got 40-15 that you've got to guess a couple of times if you're to get back to deuce to have any chances.
New balls coming out. I'm a big fan of this court, as I've said a few times this week, because unless you serve an ace, the boys are able to get the ball back and in play, and that's a key ingredient to getting things going. And I like it a lot. This court will be going to Split, Yugoslavia for an exhibition match on Wednesday between Michael Stich and Goran Ivanisevic. And
Ivanisevic can play exhibitions, but he cannot play any ATP Tour tournaments till the end of January now.
So far in the match, first serve percentages, Becker's up there a little better than Sampras. 65-55 winners. They're pretty even. Unforced errors. Becker's committed 25 to Sampras's 9.
Yeah, as I said, it's been one bad game from Sampras, and that cost him the first set. Ace number 21 for Becker.
And one miserable game from Becker that cost him the second set.
Right.
You see some of you just talk about that exhibition that Stich and Ivanisevic are doing. They're doing it in Split for charity, so the boys do a lot for charity. And you see Ivanisevic come out and go crazy here and get fined a few $1,000 and abuse a few people, and then next week he goes up to help the folks in Croatia.
He's been very good to them.
I'm going to beat
no,
it to
another one.
A double fault. 30-15 in this game. The interesting dynamic of that exhibition match is that Franulovic is the captain of the Croatian Davis Cup team, and Pilic is the captain of the German Davis Cup team. They're playing in the first round of the Davis Cup next year.
Željko Franulovic, of course, is the tournament director here at the ATP Championships.
And obviously a former player. Terrific one too. Nicky Pilic, German Davis Cup captain. He played in the final of the French Championships. A little bit of help from the net, a lot in fact, and he's got a game point here.
Again, that loose net, it's actually not unlike the kind of a net court you'll get at Wimbledon, because again, the net posts at Wimbledon are sunk into grass. So see how loose that is? That's a real, bobble net cord. At the U.S. Open sometimes, boy, they hit the top of the net and they go bouncing straight up. Yeah, they'll land into the fence exactly. Unplayable.
Right into the body, and Becker holds on. He's cut out the double faults for now. See how long it lasts. 4-3 on serve, third set. You're looking at Pete Sampras at the Festhalle in Frankfurt. He's the top player in the world. He's had by far the most successful year. He's taking on Boris Becker, who, if he wins the match today against Sampras, will be the #2 player in the world. They're playing for the World Championship here. After all those weeks of play all over the world, it's down to 2 players. Hesitation here while some of the folks behind Pete Sampras take their seats.
It's down to 2 players at the Virginia Slims Championships. Kind of a surprise final. Gabriella Sabatini is in the final against young American Lindsay Davenport. I bring that up because Mary Pierce, who's also being coached now by Nick Bollettieri, lost to Davenport pretty easily yesterday, and she called Nick after the match and said, "Why am I so up and down?" And Nick says, "Because you have to work 365 days at your tennis like Boris Becker does." Bollettieri is unbelievably respectful of the work ethic that Becker has shown in the year they have been together, and he feels very strongly that Becker's got a good-looking chance at winning the Australian for the 2nd time in '95. Of course, Pete Sampras would like to defend, and Andre Agassi is going to take a real good-looking shot at the Australian Open, an event he's never played. He said, "I beat Pete 2 weeks ago. He beat me here. I want to get him at the Australian."
39, 40.
It's going to be a good event down there.
We're going to be there.
I'm looking forward to going home for a month. I use it as a little bit of a vacation as well to
But it sounds
see some friends. But it's going to be an excellent tournament. There was a time when
on the men's side.
Yeah.
On the women's side, it's very doubtful that Steffi Graf with her bad back will make it and defend her title next year.
Well, there was a time when the women were the strength down there as far as the tournament was concerned. The men just wouldn't go down there at the time of the year. They changed the date, and it's in with the men and the women up until this year. It's been a very strong event. One of the Grand Slam events, of course.
Game points here for Pete Sampras, who won the Australian this year, to make it 3 in a row. He holds on here, and it's 4 games all. He had won Wimbledon and the US Open before that.
Defensive lob here. We haven't seen too many defensive lobs. He throws that one up because nearly impossible for him to get a crack at a passing shot, so you give yourself an opportunity to get back in the point. But Sampras says no. Look at the way he gets back. Scissor steps, look, on the way back for the overhead. Good reach, and then the snap of the wrist at the top of the swing. Good timing. And what more do you want? Pretty happy with that overhead.
No front center. Love 15.
Lightning can strike very quickly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Fred. It's 4 games all in the 3rd and love 15. $15 all. I say that because if you're at the refrigerator getting the diet something or other, this would be a good time to come back and check this match out now, because
And
this
hang
is
on to your
crunch
hat.
time.
Not too many people go to refrigerators for diet something, do they?
Light something?
Dry stick front center.
30-15.
Well, at this stage of the second set, Becker didn't have much control on his service game, and here he served the last 2 points, an ace breaking wide and another one right into the backhand corner.
How he said he expects ups and downs in this match.
30 front center.
So much for that. Sampras wins the first point, and we're all on the edge of our seats, and then 3 big points from Becker, and it's game point.
So you've let go of your hat. Becker said, remember, right at the beginning, we had Becker saying that he expects a lot of ups and downs in this match. Over 5 sets, they both want it so badly.
Well, that's pretty much the way serve and volley tennis goes, isn't it? When you've got 2 champions up and against one another.
Double fault, 40-30. He says he quite likes the idea of playing a 5-set match, Becker, but and then was quick to add, I think Sampras does too.
Becker said someone asked him, we thought perhaps he was getting a little tired yesterday. He said, yes, I'm not as fresh as I was 4 or 5 days ago. You got to beat all these top players in the world in 6 days. It's not easy. Round robin and then the two weekend matches. He said, but I think I have one more match in me.
Yeah, there are no 12-inch putts out here this week, are there? No gimmies. Game point. And game for Becker. That change ends. Germany's Becker ahead. Only 2 breaks of serve, 1 in each set in this match so far. I am amused, though, by Mary's thoughts about cricket. I mean, she just cannot imagine anybody would spend more than 5 minutes watching that game.
She doesn't know anything about it, that's why.
Right. On serve.
5-4 Becker.
I don't think she's going to buy a book on cricket when we go down for the Australian Open either.
That's wide, love 15.
Sampras didn't come in behind that second serve, and at this stage of proceedings, when the pressure's on, you got to do that. If Becker hits the winners, fair enough, but you can't let him dictate the trend of the point, and he did so on that first one.
He's played a bolder third set, Becker, and it's paid off for him. Going for too much there. He came up off that shot.
Yeah, but that was the right thing to try.
Exactly.
It was, but we talked about this the other day with Sampras. When he came off, we talked about when it got tight in those 2 sets, he didn't come in behind his serve. He's been doing it all match long, and now he's fallen back into pretty much the same pattern that cost him dearly in the round-robin competition. See if he stays back the rest of this game or comes in after that second serve.
Oh, he's going to miss that one.
He missed it.
Dangerous play.
He went for the hot dog.
The high-flying overhead. It's a very tough shot to hit this.
Yeah, and he didn't spike it away. He didn't angle it, and he didn't get it deep enough. And he could have made that one, too. Boy, that was a makeable
Yeah,
volley.
it sure was. He tried to guide it. You could tell. 15-30.
Rising 5, 30.
Good serve if he can hit him too good, but don't let him just let you play. The aim of the game now is transferring pressure from one end of the court to the other.
Yeah, and you got 9,000 Germans screaming for Becker. It's like a pressure cooker out there. It's wide.
Same thing again. Hate to say it, folks.
Set point.
Becker controls his own destiny here. He's got Sampras on the rope. Sampras has to come up with great stuff all the time. He comes up with 2 of them, but you can't make 3 when you're off balance to make that shot. Didn't miss by much. Boris Becker did the right thing here under the circumstances when he knew Pete Sampras was going to stay back on that second serve.
Oh, boy. 192 Ks make that 119 mile an hour ace. It's only 5 aces for Sampras against 23 for Becker in the match.
Boy, did he need that one. Well-played point. Becker had the opportunity, but he missed down the line. He a little bit late on the ground stroke. It's a lot tougher to hit those fellas on the passing shots under pressure than it is to try and chip and get all that court to get into the net behind something.
Barbara Becker watches. She's watching 2 of the best in the business doing what they do so well on a court surface that suits tennis and their games. Game point.
First service.
That'll go wide in its game.
Well
to
played, Sampras. Well played to get out of that. Got himself into a lot of bother.
I'm also happy. I like the way Sampras played this because he didn't go for a huge first serve. He went back to 3/4 serve and trusted his volley. We talked about it before. Sometimes Sampras tends to to really press when the heat is on, go for huge serves, and it hasn't worked. He's only had a handful. He's only had 5 aces on the day. He should trust that a good 3/4 pace serve will do the job for him. It's what Becker's been doing so well, and Becker's also had, as we've said, so many aces, 10 in this set alone.
Most times when you've got a good volley like both these boys have, you're going to have a look at a volley if you get a good 3/4 pace serve, and if they crank it for a winner, it's just too tough. Becker's got 74% of first serves again. That's about where he was at the end of the first set.
Right signal.
Yeah, he took a little bit off that one and kept it in.
Smart.
30
5 games all.
This is good rhythm again and good tennis, because you can bring in the heater occasionally, but if you're serving at 110 mile an hour, 106 mile an hour, there's not much your opponent can do with that serve.
That has become by far Pete Sampras' most dangerous shot, the forehand pass.
15.
Talking earlier about putting some more topspin on the backhand side. He hits that pass now with a lot of topspin as well on the forehand. Not so much on the return, but on the pass. That's wide.
That was a smart shot from Sampras there from deep in the court. He had very little chance of making a passing shot because of the Becker volley. He had to take a step back, and the pass from back there is just too tough. Becker was blanketing the net, and he threw up a good volley, a good lob, I'm sorry, and made Becker try and play that high backhand volley, which I think is one of his worst shots.
A set all, 5 games all, 30 all.
Big serve.
Theatre price, 40-30.
This is just great tennis from two of the best.
Yeah. Kept his head on that one and kept his head down.
Watch this. This is rather a flat return. See, he blocks it back but gives himself a second chance, and he makes the second one. A little bit more topspin, a little bit more control on that shot.
Of course, I suppose he had a little more time, which helps. Deuce.
First six.
Sampras was on that one as wide as he hit it.
Be interesting to see whether he guesses wide again on this one.
It's going to be interesting to see where Becker serves it too. I think it's a down the liner.
I'd give him the one down the line. I'd wait for the wide one.
Here's a break point coming up for Sampras. He's hit a couple of good backhand passing shots here. A shot that has not done him justice so far in the match. Look.
Yeah, but again, it's the return of serve that makes Becker play that volley, the backhand volley, where he doesn't have a lot of stick on that backhand volley. And Sampras there rolls it cross court. Well struck. There's the return. Makes Becker do it. And Becker, you can see Becker edging there. He was a good 3 feet over towards the forehand line.
Break point. Sampras has had 8 break point chances. He's broken once.
Well,
yeah.
Becker just kept aiming at the Sampras backhand, and it came through for him all game long. big break.
3 times it worked for him. 6-5. Sampras will serve for the third set. One way to still the hometown crowd is to get your nose out front. That's just exactly what Sampras has done. Now the crowd are beginning to clap for Becker and hope that he's able to break back here. If he doesn't, Sampras takes a 2-set-to-1 lead. It's 6 games to 5, 1 set all.
So Sampras is trying to stun the mullets. 9,000 of them, as the fiery one would say. That gets him going.
There's a forearm jolt return. That one, good serve from Sampras into the backhand. A good reply from Becker. Oh, Sampras breathed a sigh of relief on that one too, because he was on his way cross-court to the forehand cross-court, and it hit right on top of the tape, went over the highest part of the net, or Becker attempted to.
Yes, he got that one. 200 kilometer an hour. That's 124. He hasn't been a lot higher than that all week, so he really generated some horsepower on that one.
Look at this, he even top spins this one, comes up over the top of it, makes sure of it.
30-15. 2 points from the third set and a 2-set-to-1 lead. 187 Ks on that, so not as hard, but a good angle. No chance for Becker. Set points for Sampras. He saves one.
Second serve that Sampras stays back on, and Becker just rips into this one. There's a good look at it. Becker, good shoulder turn, and look at the racket work on that. Just drills it straight through with that forearm. It's like a karate chop. Whack.
Now Sampras is taking his time here. He's going to sidle up to that serve line. Let the crowd have their say, and then
thump it.
Let's see. He missed it. It's called wide, but it was close.
Sampras called it wide too.
No doubt Tim Gullickson gives his man Sampras a hand. I tell you what, it couldn't have been closer. Becker on the run.
You see
That's
that guy
the same
swallow?
young man. That's the same young man that called one earlier in the match, and on the run, this one down the line, and it's hooking in. It's a curveball, folks. It's out, it's out, it's out, it's in, it's out. There you go.
It stayed out, but by only centimeters. 2-1 Sampras, first point of the fourth.
From center, 15 love.
Well, if you remember, after the first set, Sampras was a little bit upset. He sort of got the crowd, pushed his hands up the air, said, come on, keep yelling, keep going. The quickest way to keep the crowd out of this match is by what he's done now. He's leading 2-1.
Dry signal.
Now the crowd really have to get behind their man Boris Becker to get him back into this match.
$30 love.
Dreißig 15. 30-15.
I guess you can give him a shot like that, and of course if they go in you say what a brilliant shot, but it's such a low percentage play there what he tried to do there from behind the baseline. Flatten the stroke out that much and go for an angle like that.
Vierzig 15. 40-15.
First game of the fourth set goes to Becker, but Sampras of the USA, ranked #1, leads 2-1. There were two groups, red and a white group. The white group enjoyed Pete Sampras and Ivanisevic, Becker, and Edberg. The red group featured Agassi, Bruguera, Chang, and Berasategi. From the white group, Sampras and Becker emerged, and they took out Agassi and Bruguera, who emerged from the red group. This is the championship match, the World Championships on the line.
Boris Becker, the only man in the semifinals yesterday who had not won a Grand Slam title in 1994. Sampras, of course, won two of them, the Australian and Wimbledon. Bruguera defended the French. Agassi won the U.S. Open. But Becker is back out going for titles again. He's in a very good frame of mind, and again, as I say, I mean, he's committing himself fully, he says, for the next couple of years to do just that.
Well,
Nicely
he's only
cut off
26,
volley.
isn't he? He's only 26 years old, 27 next week.
27 in 2 days' time, yeah.
But as he says, he said in these days, being out there for 11 years already is quite an accomplishment. Bjorn Borg was out of the game by then.
Yeah, Borg had a different kind of game, though. He had a defensive style play. As you watch this replay, and Becker, as I said earlier, it's easier to play like he plays because he knows exactly what he's got to try to do every point. And guys like Mats Wilander and the defensive players have always got to, like Michael Chang, for example, always got to try to find a way to win a point. Jim Courier also has got that problem. I always envied the serve and volley players like yourself, Fred, because you just went out there and did what you did.
Oh, I worked very hard.
Still do.
A lot of help from the net.
It's so loose. It's so soft, that net right in the middle of the court. Gets tighter and tighter as you go wide. Look at this, boy.
Yeah, that was a good return from Becker, and he didn't get anything out of it because they're having a joke with one another. This is played in a good spirit. These boys are good friends. As Mary said, Pete went into Becker's locker room when they with the last match of the round robin, and he beat Edberg to allow Sampras into the semi-finals. But he'll take all the luck he can get today.
Becker is considered to be as charismatic a player as there is in the game, along with Andre Agassi.
Yeah, you got that right. I'll sign on to that.
I like what Yvonne Lendl says about Sampras. He says it's sickening that someone who's down to earth, reasonably clever, and wears nice clothes almost has to apologize for being the way he is.
For being world #1, yeah.
And just, the people who don't understand how beautifully Sampras plays the game.
It's just a matter of time before he's appreciated for what he is, which is the greatest player playing right now. He's got 5 Grand Slams under his belt already, closing in on the Connors and McEnroes in terms of numbers of singles wins. And he's just 23 years old.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh, man.
yeah. Top spin. That's a clay court shot, that one, because you slide that one down the line. Becker was on the one down the line, and Sampras What Sampras here when Becker plays this little slice drop shot, it's not a bad shot. And he comes in the net, does the right thing, covers the one down the line. Sampras flicks it with a flick of the wrist, finds the angle. Look, low to high. There, look at the contact point there. Finishes up, doesn't hit it with a heavy topspin, just enough to lift it up over the net and roll it cross court.
One game more. You're watching the fourth set of this World Championship match between Becker and Sampras. Sampras
15.
leading by 2-1. First set went to Becker and the next 2 to Sampras. Cliff Drysdale alongside Fred Stolley and Mary Carrillo. Yes. 30 love Becker.
Well, I'm doing it here. I'm saying when you watch as much tennis as we three here in the booth have watched, you don't often applaud tennis players. You see so much tennis, but look at this shot here. I watched Becker play against Edberg the other day, and I sat out there with my wife in the stands watching. I was applauding, and yesterday I'm applauding up here in the commentary booth. This is just fabulous stuff.
Thanks to the quality of these two players primarily, but also to the conditions that are a little bit slower, which gives each one of these players a chance to get the serve back at least. Having said that, only 3 serve breaks in the match so far, 1 in each set. Becker holds on, no breaks in the fourth set yet. 2-1. The German leads. The American has 2 sets to 1. It helps to have the home crowd pulling for you. Yesterday, after his win over Bruguera, Becker talked about the obviously partisan crowds here at the Festhalle.
It's a pressure because the expectations are so high. You know, they expect me to perform well. They expect me to make the last point. But on the other hand, those expectations can lift my spirits as well. And if the crowd wouldn't have supported me, not only today, but in the last couple of tough matches, the outcome might have been different. So they, you know, once I'm able to play good tennis, they really help me a lot. And, you know, I hope they do the same thing tomorrow, what they've been doing all week long.
For the moment, the crowd rather, is kind of out of it because Sampras has the lead here. Waiting for a moment to get back into it. Interesting how they sense the important stages of the match.
They're a very learned group, the folks over here in Germany. Have been for many, many years. They like their tennis. And the rhythmic applause between points is to try and get their folks going. That's just a habit of the Europeans, I guess, because you don't find that type of thing happen in the United States, or for that matter in Australia or England. It's the rhythmic clapping that is pretty much a European thing. It's a European thing.
It's a Europe. Well,
easy game to Sampras, 2 games all.
He's giving them, these fans, not too much hope. I mean, look at this. Sampras he played 1 bad game in this whole match. I mean, here we are, almost halfway into the 4th set, and the 1 bad game Sampras played was in the 1st set, and that's why he lost it. He's had, he's had very few unforced errors, a lot of winners. His serving has been consistent.
They both had a lot of winners in the winners department. They're both, Sampras is 52 and Becker's 51. It's the unforced errors that's cost Becker.
Exactly.
30-12.
And
another double fault.
That's 12 double faults are included in that.
Yeah, and in a recap of this match, you have to say that in the 2nd set, Becker really helped Sampras out and turned the whole thing around when he served 5 double faults in 1 game to let Sampras lead in the set 4-2, and then he served it out at 6-3, and that made it even. Without that little jolt at that time, could have been a very different story. Love 15.
Got away with it.
Love 30.
Got the ball back into play. That's what Bruguera did against Becker yesterday. Becker doesn't do much with this volley. Look, doesn't go near the line, and Sampras takes one good stride, sets himself. There's the step, one good stride, sets himself for the one down the line, and he hasn't missed that one on too many occasions. He missed one on a break point early in the second set when he had an opportunity.
Yeah, good cover that time, as Becker anticipated where he was going. That backhand pass has come alive for Sampras. That's what won in the third set.
Becker keeps aiming there. No wonder it's gotten hot. Becker's gone there again and again.
Becker
but
really
he
on
smothered the net on that one, Fred.
On the first volley, yeah, he does on this one. But on the return of serve, Becker very rarely will he go to the forehand because the grip that he has when he plays his backhand volley, it's a sliced backhand volley, and he has to go to the forehand on most occasions.
Great volley.
Yeah,
super volley on that one. It was about as wide and deep as you could get without being out, and he wins the point back to 30 all.
Right side play, 30 all.
I often show you a good look at Becker's grip on the serve, and he doesn't change the grip when he gets in the volley. It's pretty much a forehand grip. Have a look at it there. Pretty much an Eastern forehand grip that he uses, and he doesn't change it to make this backhand volley. Half volley.
Yeah, you're in trouble when you hit anything short, and Sampras is able to get around it and hit the forehand, because that's what this one here is what set it up. Look.
There's the return of serve, sets it up and allows him to play this one, and then he can do anything of 3 or 4 different deals on that one. As long as he keeps his eye on the ball, he's going to win that point.
So we've got a break point for Sampras. He steers that one wide, and there is the break. That is the first break of the fourth set. He leads 2-1. There is a hush in this Festhalle in Frankfurt. 3-2, Sampras.
Next week in Women's World Cup skiing comes ESPN from Park City, Utah. On Saturday, it's the Giant Slalom, live at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific. And then next Sunday, the Slalom at 5 p.m. Eastern. World Cup skiing right here on ESPN.
Park
or
City.
as the fiery one would call it.
Birds on board.
That's an Australian thing, isn't it?
It's an Australian thing.
It's an Australian thing. It's a guy thing.
Hey, Park City is a great spot to do just about anything, especially ski at this time of the year. I hope the snow is good there. Barbara Becker is watching.
She's always got her head in her hands. Pete Sampras's girlfriend, Delana Mulcahy, did not make the trip over here this week because she's in law school. She's got exams.
So she's back home in Tampa.
Watch what's going on here, folks, now, because Becker is down the break. He now has to take it to Sampras. He can't be happy with staying back. Every time Sampras misses a first serve now, Becker's got to become a little more aggressive if he is to get back into this match. Sampras has got the adrenaline flowing. When it did that against Agassi yesterday, he got through and served harder at the end of the match than he did at the start. That last one was 193k. He's picking up the pace. The adrenaline's got him moving.
About 119 miles an hour.
Same thing again. That's the sign of a champion. When you get that far in front, Becker would do the same thing. You get that break, 2-1 up. You say, hey, that's it. I've got to put it away now.
Yeah, it's a little easier at this stage with a 2-1 lead, isn't it? 4-2 Sampras.
Sampras leads 4 games to 2.
Becker was almost out of it against Sergi Bruguera in yesterday's semi. If you're watching, he was actually just about a fistful of points away from losing. And he said about that time in the match, he said, you cannot really think at that moment about skills or about tactics. You just want to survive. Let's see if he can get his way out of this.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as bad as his story is now. Of course, he lost the first set in the tiebreak, and then they were dead even the latter stages of the second set before Becker made his move against Bruguera, and then he ran away with the third set. But as you said, Mary, it was very close in that second set.
26 aces to 8 aces for Sampras. They've come at some good times, but then he's thrown some double faults. It was the double faults that he threw in that allowed Sampras to get into the match by winning the second set.
Oh, that's too tough. 15 all. A little bit of help there from the net, too, for Sampras.
Yeah, Becker again doesn't get the volley wide enough, and it's picked up. He hits the tape on this one. A good block return from Sampras to keep him in the point, and then he figures he can run that one, and Becker doesn't get the angle on the backhand volley and allows Sampras to hit to the open court.
Sampras really has improved here with every single match this week.
Yep.
And this is his best form by far.
And earlier on in the week, he said that he thought he was going to get back better each match.
Nice coverage from Becker. Again, he comes as tight as he can to the net, trying to block off the great volleys that Sampras has been able to get off on the backhand side.
Yeah, this is a good diving volley. Had the open court. Once he closes right in on the net.
Oh, yeah. 30 all. By the way, when you're talking about Becker having himself, as you watch this replay, a rough match yesterday against Bruguera, here's the winner from Sampras. He also lost the first set against Agassi and had to win the second set in the tiebreak, 7 points to 5. And that was only after Agassi had got all out of sorts with himself in an argument with Rudy Berger, the chair umpire. 30 all.
Oh, he was sitting on it. Well played from Sampras. Becker a gutsy serve to go out wide, but he paid the price.
It was a good wide serve, too, but as you said, Sampras was on it. Take a look at this again.
He's just returning much better in this match than he did when he played Becker a couple days ago.
He's also mixing it up a little better. This sure could do it for him. 4-2 and another break point if he gets a second break here. That will be all, she wrote. But Becker has come back time and time again. He did it against Ivanisevic in Stockholm final after he lost the first set.
Well, he's seeing it like a football right now. That second serve, he was not the same at the start of the match on the return. Sampras is taking more risks now. He can afford to because he has that service break, and he's trying to break this match wide open. Shoulder turn, look at this. Look where the racket head goes. Out after the ball with a firm wrist. He can still pretty much see the back of the racket when he's finished the shot.
Set, make that break point at 4-2. good.
Einstein.
27 aces for Becker against 8 for Sampras.
Oh,
And another one.
This is this is what Becker talks about.
survival now.
Well,
he
it's
says,
just it's his will that's keeping him around. He knows a cushion break achieved here by Sampras would mean the end of this match. Oh man, that's terrific stuff.
So he holds on, but Sampras still leads 2-1 and 4-3, and he'll serve. As you take a look at some of the past champions here, Pete Sampras is trying to join the list of multiple winners. Ivan Lendl won the year-ending championship 5 times. Ilya Nastasic got it 4. McEnroe had 3. And Boris Becker and Bjorn Borg have won the year-ending championship twice apiece. Michael Stich won it last year over Sampras. Becker won it in '92 over Courier, who beat Sampras in the semi-final that year.
Becker won that 7th game of this 4th set to keep him in the match.
Becker's looking for a call. If he doesn't get it, it's ace number 9.
Very discerning eye there, checking him out.
Checking it twice.
Pete says, I've been a good boy. What am I going to get for Christmas? Yeah.
As Pete says about his year, as great as it was, 9 titles, 2 Grand Slams, it could have been much better. He spent much of the second part of the year injured.
Boy, yeah.
40 loves Sampras. They're playing for $650,000 today. If Sampras wins, he'll take home $1,240,000. Watch this.
Confidence here. He's ripped in a couple of big serves. He takes this slice bang. This is the toughest shot. He's going over the highest part of the net. He's got to hit it with topspin. He's got to get up and over and into the court, and he did it easily.
Game point.
Hasn't had a double fault in a long time. That's only his 2nd.
Cyclops went off there, and he's questioning the call.
That's been great the whole match, that machine.
And that was in reference to Cyclops, the machine that calls this, and Sampras just saying, well, do you think that machine's working? Well, it did look as though it was out from the replay.
That was the shot for Becker, but it wasn't deep enough. And Sampras is seeing, as we've said a few times, the ball now like a football.
5 games to 3.
And he had no hesitation in winging that one by Becker. He's 1 game away now from another title here in Frankfurt. World champion.
Again, Becker muscled that one.
Muscles that high forehand volley. He snaps the wrist at it. It's just not a very safe shot.
just wide.
From center.
15 all. I really think this title outside of the Grand Slams is something that these players cherish more than anything. Of course, there are a lot of IBM ATP Tour points that go along with it as well.
And the money doesn't hurt it either.
Little dough.
$30-15.
Becker was on that one. He serves it out wide and then moves to the forehand. Look at this. There it is. He just goes there, covers it. Sampras, that time up a little bit too high on that return. And it's again up in that safe area for Becker that he just has to block it, and he uses the pace as opposed to making the pace. That's when he comes up with the errors.
Okay, it looks for all the world like Sampras is going to have to serve for the match.
That's not an easy task either when you're serving for $1.3 million, or even when you're serving for a championship, or even when you're playing at the club.
Game point, Becker.
Gracias. 40-30.
So we will wait to see Pete Sampras serve for the championship after they take a break.
Sampras leads 5 games.
Pete Sampras serving for the championship. Started way back before the Australian Open in New Zealand, and Australia winds its way around the world. And these players now, as 9,000 Germans root for Boris Becker, are in the last stages of this calendar year's play.
And now
Double fault.
As we said earlier, this only the third double fault of this entire match for Sampras. He's been serving unbelievably well, but now he's serving for the championship, and he's got this entire stadium hoping that Boris Becker breaks serve. It's not an easy task.
15 all. Lost the first point of the last game that he served, and then came through with flying colors. It's same story so far.
Crowd drowning everything out. The unison clapping.
That was a 203-kilometer-an-hour serve. That is over 126. That's his hardest serve of the week.
Well, we mentioned in the match yesterday, the semi-finals, towards the end, the adrenaline got going, and he served the hardest he'd served in the entire match. The same is true for today. He's 2 points away.
30-15. Winner, championship point for Sampras.
He was very poised on this. Boris Becker does the right thing here, comes into the net. Doesn't do enough with the volley, though. Look at Sampras. He just plants that foot one time. He doesn't have to run. He doesn't have to do anything. He plants the foot, and he hasn't missed too many of those when he's been given time to execute on that shot.
Some fan is going to leave with Pete Sampras' winning racket, too.
That's a terrific thrill for Sampras there the entire week. as we've said so many times throughout this week, he's got better with every match, and it showed in his last couple of matches. He went from strength to strength. He picked it up in Antwerp. That's the first title he's won in the second half of the year. I'm very thrilled for him. He did a great job today. Boris Becker let him in with serving a few double faults, but Becker served 30 aces in that championship, Mary, and that's a tremendous effort on his part also.
Yeah, no, listen, earlier in the week I had asked Boris Becker what he thought, how he would describe the 94 year. He said the first half was all about Pete Sampras. The second half was all about Andre Agassi. I think he's shorting himself. He had a terrific fall, Boris Becker, and it's great that at the beginning of 1995, those three guys, the big three, are going to be hard at it.